Brendan, go ahead when you have a chance.
All right. Thank you very much. It's great to be here this evening. Thank you for coming. I see some familiar faces in the audience. I do want to commend Dan and the work he's doing at Glenbrook North High School. I mean, the best energy dollar is the one you never spend. So energy conservation is very important. And recycling, reusing, those are all very important things to do, and I commend you for the job you're doing. I come in when you've already done all that, and we're talking about creating a new energy source, a clean energy source, a renewable energy source, and that's what I've dedicated my life to. And over 30 years ago, our company installed the very first system in Northbrook, and we're continuing to install solar in Northbrook, and we're branching out from doing solar heating and hot water to solar electric. It's a very exciting time to be in the solar industry. Let me see if I understand how this works. There we go. So actually, I'd like to point out that that's a picture of Glenbrook South High School. It's the largest solar heated swimming pool in the state, and I'll be talking about that coming up in a minute. And we've been involved in solar in Illinois since 1977. So that's a long time. It might be new to you, it's not new to us. So there's a lot of sunshine falling on our planet. Of course, life is impossible without the sun. Illinois' greatest resource is solar energy because we're an agricultural state. So without sunshine, we'd be in a bad way. But that enough sunshine strikes our country in just today to power us for a year and a half. In fact, if we took 100 square miles of desert in the southwest of California using today's solar electric technology, we could power the entire United States. So it's not technological. It's policy, and of course, moving the energy from where we have it to where we need it, and updating our grid. But all of this is possible. And America is just trying to catch up to the rest of the world. The shift to clean energy is inevitable. It's happening, and it's fantastic because dirty energy has been with us too long, and we're paying too high a price. And the shift to clean energy is a win-win for everyone. And here is that shift. Now, we look at fossil fuels, which took millions and billions of years to create. It's actually solar energy derived, but it's not the type that we like. But we look at that as our savings. You know, it took a long time to create, and we're using it up a lot faster than we're replacing it. You know, we found all the easy fossil fuels. So the ones we're looking for today are further away, harder to get, more expensive, and more dangerous to extract. Now, we could talk about the Gulf oil spill, Exxon Valdez, nuclear energy. Some people, I spoke at a school yesterday, and one of the students said, nuclear energy, great. Nuclear energy is very dirty. It's dirty from the start, it's dirty during the process, and it's very dangerous after the fact. We're ignoring the real price of nuclear energy, and we're sitting in the world's, or at least our country's, most heavily nucleafied, if that's a word I just invented, area. We get more than half our electricity from nuclear energy, and future generations are going to be paying for centuries to deal with this issue. So it's very short-sighted. Selfish is the way I put it. Yes. Yes. You know, the press is not really talking about that, and it is the biggest nuclear disaster ever, and it's not getting better. Well, let's talk something good then, okay? Clean energy, solar energy, sunshine. It's renewable. That means it's coming to us every day, free of charge, no charge for delivery. And we call it harvesting. We're living off our income. How many here can survive off their savings? Okay, they're not here tonight. You know, we need our income, and that's the better way to live. So, solar, wind, water, gravity, earth. You know, I just heard the other day that the center of our planet is hotter than the sun. There's a lot of heat being generated, and in California, they're harvesting that for cities. Big geothermal units have been around for decades. It's not new. They've been using it. And of course, recently, homeowners and businesses and schools and hospitals are using that heat from the earth as a geothermal process for cooling and heating So that's another resource. Okay, I always get this question, though not so much anymore. Because after doing this for 30 years, there must be at least enough sunshine to keep us busy, okay? So does Chicago have enough sun? You know, we remember the days like today, but 7 days out of 10, we have enough sunshine to provide 100% of what we design our systems to do. That's pretty remarkable. Well, it turns out the world's largest solar power, not just per capita, but the largest solar power country in the world is Germany, because they have policies that encourage it. And if you look at a map, that's Germany. That's the amount of sunshine they get on an annual basis. The closest in our country is Alaska and Seattle. That matches Germany. So if they can do it in Germany, trust me, we can do it in Chicago. Now, the coldest day of the year is also the brightest. So it turns out the further north you go, the more valuable sunshine is. We need it more. Don't use solar to heat your home in Florida. It's a waste of money. But here, we're going to use it 7, 8, 9 months out of the year. That's valuable. And this somebody sent me. It's a billboard. Of course, we like to remind people that, what's the worst thing happens when there's too much sun? You might get sunburned, all right? So don't forget to use sunscreen. But, we like it when there's a lot of sunshine. And I talked a little bit about the shift to solar. Last year, in America, we doubled the use of solar energy over the previous 30 years. In 2 years, we'll double it again. That's how fast it's coming on. But we're catching up. China's ahead of us. Yeah, they have a lot of dirty energy, a lot of dirty coal, but they're also the leader in clean energy. Saudi Arabia is going to go from 0 to number 3 over this decade. They just realized oil's too valuable to burn. It's a great export product. They got a lot of sunshine, a lot of desert, a lot of place for solar panels. They're going to go big. India is doing it as well. Europe is investing in solar plants in North Africa to supply electricity through a cable under the Mediterranean to Europe. So they're going where the sunshine is. And this is where the jobs are. These are jobs that cannot be outsourced. The best installers are the ones right here. There's a lot of work for everybody. There's a lot of rooftops. Chicago's been called the Saudi Arabia of rooftops. We have it. The infrastructure is here. We don't need to build anything. It's right there, waiting to be used. And these are very good jobs. They pay well, and all sorts of trades are involved. So that's exciting. And here are some of the advantages. I've already spoken about it. It's an unlimited energy source. This technology is reliable and proven. Solar thermal technology, heat and hot water, very mature. It's been around for a long time. 100 years ago, one of the biggest sellers in Sears catalog was a solar water heater. So it kind of just got forgotten over the middle of the 20th century, rediscovered after the energy crisis of the 70s when I got involved. I'd like to say everybody wins with clean energy because the air is cleaner, the water is cleaner. I mean, you ask a child, what's better, clean energy or dirty energy? They know what's better, clean water or dirty water, clean air or dirty air. The coal industry, the nuclear industry, the fossil fuel industry, they don't pay to put out their garbage. We pay for it. That's an externalized cost that makes it appear that their products cost less than they really do. And it makes it appear that solar is more expensive. We've never asked for special treatment in the solar industry. We've always asked for equal treatment. Give us the subsidies that all these other technologies have gotten, and we'll be in great shape. Even today, we're being out-subsidized something like 45 to 1. So for every dollar solar gets, fossil fuel industry and the nuclear industry is getting 45. That's not fair. I mentioned fuel deliveries are free, and we don't say that just to be cute and funny. Take a look at your utility bills. You're getting separate charges for delivery. The gas company says they don't charge you anything more than they pay for the fuel. They pass it on to you. But they do pay you for bringing it to you. And they keep raising those rates. ComEd just got a customer increase. They didn't put it on the kilowatt hour charge because they wanted to be competitive. So your customer charge keeps going up. And we get asked all the time, if I'm going to invest in solar, when am I going to see my return on investment? When is it going to pay back? And I love that question, because I always first ask this one. When will your current system pay for itself? Yeah. You know, what's the payback on that? It's negative. And when you think solar, it's the only appliance, the more you use, the more you save. And the longer you have it, the more valuable it is. And it's simple technology. Our solar electric systems have no moving parts. Our solar thermal systems have a couple of pumps, stainless steel, self-lubricating, lasts decades. No maintenance required, no regular maintenance. So, and of course, this is important. Illinois exported $8 billion on energy last year. $8 billion left our state and went to Canada, Wyoming, Mexico, Africa, for energy. Wouldn't it be better if we could keep those dollars close to home? Recycle them in the local economy? That's what clean energy, homegrown energy, as our governor likes to call it, that's what it's about. I mentioned that it only takes 4 hours of sunshine to create a 24-hour supply of hot water. That's it. Out of the 15 major cities in the country, Chicago ranks 3rd in usable sunshine. From 10 to 2, we can supply 100% of your hot water, and we'll store it so you have it for 24 hours. Miami gets 20 minutes more sunshine a day than Chicago. It's not that big of a deal. We're closer to the sun in the wintertime than they are. I mentioned I've been doing this since 1977. My first client, I was working in Florida. I grew up in Lincolnwood, went to school at Niles West. Went to the first Earth Day in 1970. I was fortunate enough to study with Buckminster Fuller in 1975 when he assigned our class to solve the energy crisis. He gave us 25 years to do it, and he only gave us one rule. Our solution could not become someone else's problem. I was lucky enough then to get a job in a solar development firm in Florida. I came back home to do a trade show at McCormick Place in 1977. Well, of course, solar works in Florida. You know, it'll never work in Chicago. And I shrugged my shoulders. I didn't know. I didn't know if it would work here. Well, 4th of July, I came up to visit my parents. I brought a crew up from Florida. And I grew up in a, 1950s ranch, 2 bathrooms, 1 shower. I was one of 6 kids, 8 of us, in the morning, fighting for the warm shower. Number 3 wasn't going to be as hot as number 2. So when I told my folks I was going to get them a solar hot water system, they were all gung-ho for it. And in fact, there was the first permit to install solar in Illinois in 1977. I also got the first contractor's license issued by Cook County that same year. And it worked really well. In fact, it worked so well, a utility company took notice. And just a few months after the system was installed, my parents got this postcard from Commonwealth Edison. Could you please explain the substantial drop in kilowatt-hour usage? Well, we must have been onto something. And my dad wrote back and said, well, he still has an electric water heater, but now he has a solar water heater too. And that same system's working today. Still there. These things last a long time. A couple of months ago, my nieces were living at the house with my brother, and they moved out. And my nieces, when they went to their new house in Zion, the first thing they told me was, they're running out of hot water. They had grown up in a house where they never ran out of hot water, and for the first time, they learned that, it's not endless. And so solar not just saves you money, but you can take a long shower. There's a lot of hot water there. So we do a lot of solar heating as well. We sell a combination system that not only delivers hot water night or day, we can also heat your home night or day. And a solar collector that turns sunshine into heat is really just a heat exchanger. It's just a heat transfer unit. And again, when I talk to students, I just ask them to describe what happens when you park a car in the sun. Sunlight, when it passes through glass, turns into heat. So a solar panel is nothing more than a glass-covered box with a piece of metal in it, painted black, and some tubing attached to it so we can send a coolant through the plate and carry the heat away. That's it. It's just like a boiler, except our fuel source is the sun. Now, of course, the glass is tempered for strength, stronger than the wind chill of a car. It's got a little pattern on it, so we reduce the glare on it. Aluminum box, no moving parts. 100 years from now, it'll work the same way it does today. And it's an inflation-proof investment. As the cost of energy goes up, so do your savings. And we can easily handle 70% of the average family's hot water needs. Sizing is simple, one 4x8 solar panel for every 2 people in the home. And when we do heating, it works with the furnace day or night. It's automatic. Your home resale value is increased. A solar home will sell before a non-solar home. And there's some great incentives. Our government's decided that going clean energy is a smart thing for our country, and they're going to pay you to do it. That's what it takes to motivate people sometimes, hard, cold cash. And the best incentives in U.S. history right now are for installing solar on your home. I mean, when's the last time the government paid you to improve the value of your house and lower the cost of operating it? Right now is the best time. And it is easy. The systems are totally automatic. They're maintenance-free. The energy is available 24 hours. We store it. And just about every house has solar potential. Occasionally, we'll walk away from a house that has too many trees or the neighbor's house is taller than theirs. And it works with the existing water heater, furnace, or radiant floors. You know, the one thing I learned about solar is everybody loves the idea of saving energy. Nobody wants to take a cold shower. So all our systems work in partnership with the conventional heating equipment in the home. We don't come into the house and start taking things out. Your water heater stays there. The solar water preheats the water to that tank. Your furnace stays there. We preheat the air to the furnace with solar heated water. So your comfort is there. Your heat and hot water will always be there. You'll just pay less. And a 4x8 solar panel produces over 1,000 gallons of hot water a month here in Chicago. That's amazing. Little 4x8 solar panel. Think of a piece of plywood. But it's a glass-covered metal box, and it can make 1,000 gallons. A family of 4 just needs 2 of them. And the nice thing is, those 2 panels, the CO2 displaced, which is a greenhouse gas contributor, we can reduce it to the equivalent of planting 2.5 acres of trees every year. So after 10 years, it's like you just planted 25 acres of trees. I've always wanted to do an ad where we have solar panels on the roof and we say, plant 25 acres of trees, because that's the equivalent of it. So, again, here's the simple description. Currently, you have a water heater, cold comes in, hot goes out. With solar, you have a solar preheat tank. It's solar heated. Cold water now enters that tank. It leaves, goes into the backup tank. 70% of the time, it's hotter than what the tank is required. In fact, we put a cooling device on our water to make sure you don't burn yourself, because we set our tank to 170 degrees. We used to set it to 180, but we found out it ages the tank. So we set it at 170, we blend it down to 120, 125, and then it goes into your water heater. Our combination system is solar panels. There's always a heat exchanger in between, because the water that we bathe with does not go through the solar panels. That would freeze. So we always have a closed-loop indirect system. We put the energy into storage, we preheat the water, and we have a nice coil in the furnace. It's called a radiant forced air. It's a very comfortable type of heat. Half our heating season is in the spring and the fall. Solar can do about half of the load right then. In the middle of winter, on the coldest day of the year, we'll do about half your load on that day too, but on average, maybe 25%. So just 2 extra panels on that hot water system can contribute about 1/3 savings on your heating bill. Now, we'll do new homes that are built to higher standards. We can do a higher percentage. There's an example. We work with radiant floors. There's the coil in the furnace. Sometimes we can deliver solar heat to a room that's hard to heat, so you don't have to overheat the rest of the house just to keep just to keep that room comfortable. The one thing we don't work well with are radiators. Not too many in Northbrook, but when we go to Evanston or Oak Park or Chicago, there's a lot of homes with radiators. They work at too high a temperature for solar to really be effective. So quickly, just a lot of examples of solar. Solar thermal panels should face south, because most of the time they're going to be on the side of the house in such a way you're not going to notice them, or they'll look like skylights. Once in a while, we'll find a house with an east-west roof, of course, but we point the panels south. We can still deliver a lot of solar heating. We like that first slide of Arlington Heights. That's the first house ever built in Arlington Heights, pre-Civil War. The statue of the man, Dutton, who built that house. So if we can put it on the first house ever built, we've also done some of the newest houses in Arlington Heights. We've done vacation homes where not only are we heating the water and heating the space, we're heating a hot tub. And some newer homes, 3 floors of radiant heat in the Chicago house are getting solar heated. Sometimes we'll put the panels on the garage, detached, just have a couple of underground pipes going into the basement. Beautiful new home in Winnetka. This woman's involved in Go Green Winnetka, so she walks the talk, as we like to say. Oh, there's that house in Arlington Heights. Did that a couple of years ago. It was an Energy Star rated. It got the highest rating of any home the rater ever looked at. It's about 1.5 times the size of the typical house on the street, has half the heating bills. All they did was super insulate the house with foam, get good energy efficient equipment, nothing fancy, and solar. They got half the heating bills. Sometimes the roof isn't going to work, so we'll get creative and we can do an awning mount. We'll mount them on the side of the home. This lower picture, family was really happy we did it that way. They couldn't even use that room in the summertime. It got so hot. We cooled it about 25 degrees in August. Solar intercepted that heat. So we'll take a little credit for cooling as well as heating. We get asked all the time about economics. Quick story about a family in Antioch. I met him in an energy fair. He was upset. He was on a budget plan where he paid the same amount of money every month for his gas bill. Gas company sent him a notice. It's going up 50%. He got upset. He had a family of 4. We gave him a 5-panel system. And Chicago Tribune covered this in a story a few years back. After the solar was installed, his first gas bill for 2 months was $29. He complained to the gas company, and they recalculated his budget from $158 a month down to $70. They also issued him a credit for his overpayments of over $450, which covered his entire gas bill that year. So, you know, it does save money. In fact, I got into solar because it's a less expensive alternative. If you're not using the sun to heat your water, you're spending more than you need to. It's really about economics. Yeah, it's great that we're helping the planet, saving the world, making it a little bit better for future generations. But it's really, the green I care about is what's in your wallet. And it's a better, smarter way to provide energy. So speaking of how affordable it is, it's a lot more affordable than people think. A typical solar water heating system for a family of 4 installs for about $12,000, $10,000 to $12,000. But after incentives, you get 60% off. And the cost is down to $5,000. We double that when we deliver heat and hot water. Okay, now quickly we're going to talk about solar electric, because this is now the fastest part of our business. About 2/3 of our customers today, probably about 90% of our residential customers, are going solar to create electricity. And it's very simple. This is a working solar cell made by SunPower. It's evolutionary, it's revolutionary. The only way electricity has been made over time is with heat, steam. I mean, a nuclear plant, a coal plant, they all boil water, create steam, move a turbine. Hydroelectric uses gravity, but again, a turbine. Wind generators, turbines. Something mechanical, something moving. This is passive. Sunshine hits this, excites the electrons jump out and look for a place to go where they're needed. There's never been a device like this before. And this is going to be the standard way to generate electricity on our planet. And it was developed in the 50s by AT&T to power repeater stations. It's a long way to run an extension cord or recharge batteries. Satellites, of course, are powered by the sun. The space station turned 15 years old yesterday. Solar powered, of course. So this is a very exciting technology. And what's changed over the last couple of years is something called net metering. It used to be when we installed solar, we tied it to batteries. Because most of the time during the day, we generate more power than the house needs. Well, batteries added to the cost, required space, maintenance, and there were safety issues as well. Well, very few of our customers use batteries today. Most of them connect to the grid because the law requires the utilities now to accept that excess power and give it back to you later at full retail value. It's called net metering, and it's lowered the cost, simplified the system. So the way it's installed is we install the solar panels on your roof or in your yard. We hook it up to an inverter which converts the DC power to AC. It goes right into your service panel. If there's a demand in the house, that's where it goes. If there's no demand, it goes to the grid. And your meter, some spin backwards, but they're now digital, so they point backwards. And we have a client here on the second day, first day. He was so excited he saw the meter spin backwards. And I've got a picture of his house. I'll introduce you to him in a minute.
Great day.
Sometimes we'll do both. The one thing you'll notice is solar electric is usually at a lower angle. I talked about solar thermal being at a higher angle because we're after the winter sun. With solar electric, we're after the summer sun. It's longer in the sky, we need more electricity in the summertime, so aesthetically it's actually a lot more pleasing because they're going to lay flat on the roof. Some of our customers really like solar, really like it. We use the south side of his home for two systems that tie into his radiant floor system, so we put solar facing west. With solar electric, we can actually put them to the east or to the west because the sun is high in the sky when you want it to work the best. Obviously, south is the best, and a year later, he did some landscaping, and we installed 70 panels next to his house as well. This home in Rolling Meadows, again, is an example where we did both solar heating, hot water, and electric. That's a good example of the different angles involved. And here is our North Brick home. About 6, 7, 8 years ago, we added solar heating and hot water panels. And this past August, we had actually installed this brand. It's the highest rated solar panel made in the world on Peter Sternberg's house. Peter, stand up. He's a solar pioneer for Northbrook. Deserves your accolades, and the system's working well. He's extra happy today because when he purchased the system, the state had a program where they paid 25% of the cost through a rebate program. They only opened it one day a year, but it's been going on since 1999, and I'm happy to say that every single client that ever applied, well, we do the work for them, has received a rebate. Well, after Peter bought his system, the state issued new rules for the rebate program. It was no longer first come, first serve. It was going to be a lottery. They only have about $1.5 million, and there's about more demand for it. Now it was a crapshoot, and as I told Peter, crap was the right word. But 2 days ago, we learned that Peter was approved for his rebate. So I knew he'd be a lot happier when he came here tonight. So we're happy about that. They paid 25%, and the federal government paid 30%. Again, that's almost too good to be true. Here's another Northbrook home. This man works for Invenergy. It was a newer house. Invenergy, they develop wind farms. They're one of the biggest wind farm developers in Illinois. One of the reasons coal plants are having a hard time, and nuclear plants. Wind is now cheaper than coal, and it's getting cheaper every day. This is an absolute gorgeous house in Glencoe. Nate Kipnis is the architect. It's only the second platinum LEED, platinum's as high as you can get, platinum home in Illinois. And to look at it, you say, really, it looks like that house has always been there. Well, it's got a solar electric system, solar heating and hot water system, super insulation, and just well built. And there's been hundreds and hundreds of people who have toured this house, including the local congressman. And when you look at it this direction, you'll see how it works. So on the far south side at the steeper angle, this is solar heating system. Over their bedroom where they have a green roof terrace, we have a small solar electric system. And it's just a very nice home, fits into the neighborhood. These people are very active in showing how well it works. Yes?
Point of interest, I've read a lot about this house. Actually, the homeowner, the husband, he graduated from Glenbrook North.
There you go. Great. In fact, we were just at his temple on Sunday, Temple Jeremiah in Northfield, and he looks like that temple wants to put solar on their building. And there's more funding for religious institutions to go solar as well. In fact, we did the Glencoe Church about 2 blocks away last year. So there's a real photograph of it. Of course, they have an electric car, electric charging station, LED lighting in the basement. This is a historic home in Oak Park, across from the Hemingway. How can you put solar on a historical home? I mean, doesn't someone would object to that? It's low profile. You don't really see it from the street. Those are where the inverters are. By the way, some of our systems have an inverter built into the solar panel. So now we can do jobs where there was a little bit of shade on that roof. Because shade is a bigger problem with solar electric than it is with solar hot water, but they've really improved the technology where a little shade on one panel doesn't disturb the rest of the panels. There's just a bypass, and it will bypass around it till the shade disappears. Gentleman in Palatine, a couple years ago, went solar. He's had a few open houses. He is net metered. And actually last year, he ended up not using all that extra energy. When you net meter, you have a year to use it up and then it zeroes out, kind of like rollover minutes on cell phones. So he got to the springtime. We had a really sunny winter. He is very energy conscious. And he was a little upset because he just provided free energy for ComEd. So he solved that problem. He bought an electric car, and now he charges it during the day. And he went to time of day as well. A year ago, January, it was mild enough. We installed a solar electric system on this senior center in Waukegan. And the developer, all our systems come with monitoring. It's monitoring from the web. We got monthly reports. You can see exactly what it's doing in real time and historically. And the developer was so impressed with it, he took the monitor out of the mechanical room and put it in a glass display case in the front lobby. He wanted everyone to see how well it works. This is my absolute favorite project we were involved in. Harvest Time Foods on Lawrence Avenue near California, Lincoln Square. He won Businessman of the Year award the year he put this in. He needed a new awning. Well, why not incorporate solar panels as part of the awning? He also did a total lighting upgrade, LED tubes. All the lighting has changed in there. His electric bills are down about 40%. There's 35 ethnic groups in his neighborhood. He's got an outstanding produce section. Landlords have come into the store and thanked him for improving the neighborhood. Really, it's just a beautiful project. If you ever have a chance to go in there, make sure you say something to the owner or the staff about how great it looks. Our company also does factories. This is a job we finished last year in the shadow of Sox Park in Bridgeport. It's a combination awning mount and roof mount. A lot of times when we do flat roofs, we weight them down with patio stone. There's not a lot of wind load on the solar PV panels, and rather than penetrate the roof, we'll weight them down with patio stones. The awning mounts are great because it's a visual indicator that the company is energy conscious and green. And there's value in goodwill. The number one corporation investing in solar right now is Walmart. Apple, did you see the news release today on Apple? Putting up 7,000 panels on the new headquarters. It'll be 100% renewable energy. They're going to generate all their energy. Google, of course, their building is 100% solar power. They just invested $400 million in a solar company in California. The industry is moving in a big direction towards solar, not just for energy savings, but for customer relations. Customers like to see that where they shop is energy conscious. Our biggest job to date I was on United Displaycraft in Des Plaines. Last week, they signed a contract for another 800 panels. They can expand this to 200 more kilowatts. The nice thing is, it's 1/3 bigger than the previous system. It'll be about 10% less expensive because the solar cells costs are coming down. Now, I know I'm running short on time, but there's one more benefit to our solar customers here in Illinois, is you can sell the intangible item called clean energy through a renewable energy certificate. Basically, it's a carbon pollution offset. Certain states tell polluters, clean up your act or pay for someone else's clean energy. Now, in Illinois, we can only go to 7 other states and buy their certificates. Illinois has started their own program. Funding hasn't come around properly yet. We were able to secure a 30-cent per kilowatt solar renewable energy credit for our client. Now think about that. They're saving about 10 cents a kilowatt on their own energy bill, and someone's paying them 30 cents for the idea of clean energy. This company still keeps the energy. They just give a certificate to the polluter in Pennsylvania. So this payback, instead of being 8 to 12 years, was 3 to 4 years. That's why they just bought another system, because we're grandfathering them in, then they're going to still get 30 cents. We've got a small system on our building in Niles. I get a clean energy certificate through the city of Naperville. They own their own utility company, and they raise enough extra money that they can send certificates to people in Illinois. I got mine through the Illinois Solar Energy Association. Okay, there's another picture of it. This is on the edge of O'Hare Airport. O'Hare Airport's 15 feet away. We had to get FAA approval. And they made us lower the angle of the panel a little bit, which means it works really good in the summertime. But because the angle was lower, we got more panels on the roof. Did you know the biggest solar farm in the United States in an urban environment is in Chicago? Yes, it's true. Brownfield, where you can't build, you can't put a school, can't put a park, can't put a home. Perfect. Old industrial sites, great. Let's put a solar farm there. 33,000 solar panels, powering 15,000 homes in Pilsen. Okay, pool heating is very efficient use. I'm going to go really quick now because I'm running out of time. Northbrook, outdoor pool. Ever pick up a garden hose in the sun? That's the idea of plastic pool panel. Take the pool water, send it through the plastic, comes back hot. We also do municipal pools. If you have an indoor pool, we're going to use the same glaze panels that we use to heat your home. This pool, we supply all the hot water 7 months out of the year. We heat that pool. Glenbrook South. They were building an addition. Got a call from an architect that we've worked with before on schools. Says, how many panels will it take to heat the pool? I said, how big is the pool? I gave him a number. Need about 100 panels. And then I asked him, well, how big is the roof? Okay, he gave me that number. I said, well, we can put 70 up there because we have to stay certain feet away from the edges of the roof and can't have them too close or they're going to shade each other. I said, that makes sense. He said, what did it cost? We just finished a 68-panel job for Governor State, so I gave him a number, about $500,000. I said, but I think we can get you about 60% free money. He said, okay, we can sell that. I said, why don't you install the roof curbs now, because it's going to take a year for the funding to come through. So the school took the gamble. They installed the roof curbs at the same time they built the roof. Otherwise, they'd have to re-roof, and that's going to add to the cost. And it's a remarkable system in the fact that it can heat the pool at night as well. We're not just heating the new pool, we're heating the old pool. I always like to point out, if you're from Northbrook, you probably know this, or Glenview, one of the best swimmers in last year's Olympics in London trained in that solar heated pool. And the Women Athlete of the Year was a female swimmer from Glenbrook South. And of course, we take credit because they swim in a solar heated pool. There's an aerial view, and there's some of our heat exchange devices. Everything you see here, our crews do. We're unique in that we install what we sell. There's the pool. We just finished this job for Northeastern University, heating their swimming pool. Just finished it in July. Just got a nice write-up. You know who paid for that system? Students. They created a green fee fund, $3 a semester. We also got funding from the Clean Energy Foundation. Didn't cost the school a penny. The students paid for it. It's heating their pool. There's Governor State. That's one of our first swimming pools. The governor came out and helped us dedicate it. We're also heating the water for the building. The governor helped us dedicate this system for Shriners Children's Hospital. It's an electrically heated pool that elevates so the kids can go in there in wheelchairs. 25 employees for every patient at the Shriners. Kids, nobody pays a penny. Shriners Children's Hospital does not take government funds. So when you see those Shriners in those funny hats, they're getting old, but they do fantastic work. And we're happy to donate our labor on behalf of the Shriners. We do a lot of work on schools. I'm supposed to talk about schools. We've done about 30 schools throughout the state. Notre Dame has 3 systems of ours on them. Evanston also has 3. Oakton College, some of you have children going there or will go there. That's outside their cafeteria. We actually put our equipment in a display booth outside the cafeteria door in the hallway so the students can see it work as part of a learning experience. It's an awning mount, which we love awning mounts. They don't tie up the roof, and it's a visible example. We've done 5 systems for the College of Lake County. We've got 5 more going on. Apartment buildings are big. I'm going to go fast now because I'm running out of time. We do laundromats, we do restaurants. Uncommon Ground, great restaurant, the greenest in the city. They grow their own produce, their honey. There's a view of the Devon business. They just built a home with Nate Kipnis. That's on the garage, it powers the whole house, and their electric car. Greenworks, Christy Weber Landscapes. We do public works buildings. The train station in Aurora is solar heated. Avenue Garage, we love this system. 100 kW system on the 6-story garage. There's the Loop. Federal tax credit, you heard me mention it, 30%, unlimited. It's tremendous, not a tax deduction, tax credit, dollar for dollar. Businesses, even better because you can write it off. Clean energy for schools, we can help you. We write the proposals, we can get you up to 60% funding. And I want to say something about Illinois Solar. I didn't know that the executive director, Leslie, stand up, she's here tonight. We do a lot of, this is a fantastic organization. They do a lot of educational outreach. They're auctioning a car right now, or you can buy a raffle ticket for a Volt. So see me or Leslie later. We've got raffle tickets. Only 3,000 will be sold. For $40, you can drive away in a Volt. And this was in the New York Times last year. We thought it was great. 400 trillion watts every second of every day leaving the sun coming towards us. We only need to harvest a little bit of that, and we can make a real big difference when we do. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you tonight.